I'm weatherbug meteorologist Rachel Peterson. Imagine a day before satellites and radar and weatherbug tracking stations. Now go back even further and remember a time before radio and television. Before technology, how did people get their weather forecasts? Kids needed to know what the weather would be so they could dress properly for school. Farmers needed to know if it would be a wet or a dry summer so they could plant the right crop at the right time. People had basically the same needs as we do today. But how did they figure out what the weather would be? People watched the sky and nature, looking for patterns, comparing what the weather was with what they saw in the sky, on the ground, or in how the insects and animals acted. Weather folklore is a way of determining what the weather will be the next day, month, season, or even year, but without technology. Oftentimes, people would start to notice certain things that match specific types of weather. They would remember them, tell their family and friends, and this is how weather folklore got started. People would often make up catchy phrases or rhymes to help remember them. Red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in morning, sailors take warning. When dew is on the grass, rain will never come to pass. Seagull, seagull, get off the sand, it's never good weather when you're on land. Onion skins very thin, mild winter coming in. Onion skins thick and tough, coming winter cold and rough. We've all heard about the woolly bear caterpillar and how the length of the stripes can determine how bad the winter will be. The longer the brown middle stripe, the milder and shorter the coming winter. This is classic weather folklore. Over time, some folks must have been watching the caterpillars and remembered the years when they had the long brown middle stripe, the winters were less severe. Folks then told their friends and neighbors, and they watched for it in the coming fall, passing the folklore from town to town and generation to generation. Most folklore doesn't have any science behind it, but sailors have always had a critical interest in the weather, so they've watched the sky very closely, and their folklore ultimately is based on real science. One classic folklore saying is mackerel sky, not 3 days dry. This is based on real meteorological principles. Clouds that look like mackerel or fish scales means rain within 24 hours. These clouds are high, thin ice crystal clouds, and they show up in advance of storm systems. Weather folklore can be fun and factual and found all over the country. Folklore found in one region may not always be right for another. So find folklore that's local to your area and see if you can prove it right or wrong.